Bill Gates is spraying airborne mRNA on dense urban populations and rural areas with low vaccine uptake, according to a commercial airline pilot who has come forward to blow the whistle on chemtrails operations in North America and Europe. As the globalist elite find it harder to convince humanity to submit to COVID mRNA shots and endless boosters, they're having to find deceitful new ways to force their mRNA on us. According to pilots familiar with the scheme, the new airborne mRNA, known as AirVax, is designed to deliver the vaccine right into people's lungs, bypassing the need for injections and the need for consent. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community and support the channel, and check out the brand new free speech forum at community.thepeoplesvoice.tv. In the last 12 months, the mainstream media has begun preparing the public for the revelation that the global elite have been secretly spraying chemtrails on the population for decades. This is a slow reveal, and the elite are using the media to spread their doom-mongering climate predictions in the hopes that the public will be terrified into accepting chemtrails as a solution to climate change. However, the climate change narrative is nothing more than a cover story. How do we know? Declassified documents released decades ago proved the real genocidal intent of the government's top-secret chemtrail agenda.
This next story is so unbelievable, we didn't think it could possibly be true. But after receiving thousands of records and declassified reports from the Army, it's confirmed that during the Cold War, the United States military conducted secret tests on unsuspecting people in the city of St. Louis. A local sociologist will make her findings public tomorrow, but she spoke first to the I-Team's Lisa Zigman.
Lisa Martino-Taylor's life work has been to uncover details of the Army's ultra-secret military experiments carried out in St. Louis and other cities during the 1950s and 60s.
This study was secretive for a reason. They didn't have volunteers stepping up and saying, yeah, I'll breathe zinc cadmium sulfide with radioactive particles.
These Army archive pictures show how the tests were done in Corpus Christi, Texas in the 1960s. In Texas, planes were used to drop the chemical, but in St. Louis, the Army placed chemical sprayers on buildings and station wagons. City officials were kept in the dark about the tests. The Cold War cover story was that the Army was testing smoke screens to protect cities from a Russian attack. The truth, according to Martino-Taylor, was much more sinister.
It's pretty shocking. The level of duplicity and secrecy, clearly they went to great lengths to deceive people.
Some things don't change. The government is still going to great lengths to deceive the people. Only now the smokescreen is climate change rather than the Cold War.
The greatest concentration of this compound was sprayed near the Pruitt-Igoe housing complex just south of downtown St. Louis. It was home to 10,000 low-income people, and an estimated 70% were under the age of 12. Martino-Taylor claims they all unknowingly inhaled this compound morning, noon, and night so the government could measure its effects on their lungs.
So this was in violation of all medical ethics, all international codes, and the military's own policy at that time.
Fast forward to 2024, and everybody in North America and most of Europe is inhaling toxic chemicals and airborne mRNA, according to whistleblower pilots, who reveal that governments are working hand in glove with the military and private contractors to operate the top secret operations. According to one commercial airline pilot who's been doing in-depth research into chemtrails, there are thousands of people in the US, and as many again across Europe, who are involved in the business of chemtrails, most of whom have some idea of what they're doing. Speaking anonymously, with his voice digitized to protect his identity, the pilot, who asked to be called John, explains that many people within the aviation industry are fearing for their lives.
Everybody working in aviation understands the stakes are high and whistleblowers get whacked. They don't last long. The stakes are too high. You see what happened to that Boeing guy? All he did was try and talk about safety, cutting corners, basic things. Try talking about chemtrails. He won't last a minute. Everyone working on chemtrails in any capacity understands this. There are thousands of these people, and none of them are talking. You've got the pilots, many of them are military or ex-military, and they know how to keep quiet. Then you've got commercial planes involved too. These guys have signed NDAs, and they understand the gravity of what they're doing. They have to understand what they're doing because they sign dangerous goods declarations whenever there are hazardous chemicals on board. These commercial planes are modified with conversions that are easy to roll on, roll off. But these pilots, yeah, you know what they're doing. The same goes for engineers and air traffic controllers. They can't not know. Chemtrail planes don't appear on flight radar. A lot of people have noticed this while watching a plane leave grid-like patterns above their houses in the countryside. There's no trace of the plane on flight radar websites. Ghost planes. So air traffic control and the government and military are all involved. Because if they weren't, an unregistered plane not appearing on flight radars would be taken out within minutes by Air Force. You have to realize there are thousands of people involved, but a lot of these people believe chemtrails are in the public interest. They've been told by their superiors that they're fighting climate change, they're making the world a better place, and that they are doing what's necessary. But the public can't find out under any circumstances. So these guys, they think they're doing something glamorous and exciting, like working for the CIA or military intelligence. They think they're James Bond.
In reality, these misguided souls following orders from above are responsible for spraying densely populated urban areas with highly toxic and carcinogenic chemicals, including, as John explains, airborne mRNA. The globalists are trying to make us all poorer and destroy what's left of the economy. The Biden regime is following all of the WF diktats to the letter. They literally want you to own nothing and pretend to be happy. It's no joke. That's why I recently decided to put a lot of my own savings into precious metals, gold and silver. I don't trust the banks, I don't trust governments, and I don't trust big tech with my hard-earned money. Why? Because the handful of people that I do trust to give me financial advice, Max Kaiser for instance, have all said that gold is the best insurance against inflation and the stock market. So I decided to partner up with our sponsor, Colonial Metals Group. They helped me set up a self-directed IRA, where I have access to all of my assets, no matter what restrictions the government impose on everybody else. Let the team of experts at CMG help you protect your family's future. And viewers of this channel are being given an exclusive offer. Click on the link below this video or call the 800 number and you'll receive a safe and up to $10,000 in free silver. This offer is exclusive to viewers of The People's Voice. The number to call is 888-351-2043. That's 888-351-2043, or go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/TPV. As Science Translational Medicine's editor Courtney Malo explained in his new article, newly developed airborne vaccines can be used to disseminate mRNA widely and rapidly without relying on injections, or the need to seek consent.
We've been looking into this because we started hearing reports from colleagues that something had changed in the storage facilities on board, and they weren't signing hazardous goods forms anymore. In the US, the military is spraying mRNA. From what we understand, mRNA is being sprayed in remote areas in cities where vaccine uptake is lagging. In Europe, we hear that it's a combination of military and commercial planes. Many of these guys don't understand what they're doing, but we know that in the US, the military has been spraying chemicals on populations for decades now. Our research suggests that mRNA is a military-developed product, and the cover story involving Moderna and Pfizer was just for cover. In reality, mRNA was a DoD and deep state product made in conjunction with the globalists around 10 years ago. The Project Warp Speed, 8-month production schedule, that was all kabuki theater. Part of the grand plan to brainwash the masses, force them into mass formation psychosis. So it's no surprise the Pentagon is involved in administering mRNA to the masses.
What else are they spraying? As John explains, they've done tests in Europe using mass spectrometry to analyse the residue that settles on cars and windows during periods of heavy chemtrail pollution. The results from Europe are disturbing to say the least.
It's important to understand how toxic this stuff is. We're talking about graphene oxide, aluminum oxide, barium, and mRNA. These are some of the most toxic metals in the universe. I have young children. To think they're being slowly poisoned with this stuff, when I saw the results on these tests, I became radicalized. There's no other word for it. A fire was lit inside me. I've been researching ever since, and this is very dangerous, but I quickly realized that I'm not the only one in the industry, far from the only one, who wants to expose this.
Chemtrails aren't the only crimes against our children and crimes against humanity. They are also crimes against the natural world. The chemicals from the chemtrails land on plants and get into the grass, which animals are then eating. When aluminium gets into the soil, it slowly kills everything. Aluminium promotes autism in children and Alzheimer's disease in adults. They've sprayed so much aluminium and chemtrails around the world that bees have elevated levels of aluminium and they're starting to develop a form of Alzheimer's. When bees stop fertilizing flowers and pollinating our crops, we'll be totally reliant on the elite for our food.
There's a theory that the real goal of spraying chemtrails is to convert the atmosphere into plasma for weather modification, scalar mind control technology, geotectonic warfare, and other nefarious uses. From what I can see, and my colleagues agree with me, it's all part of the control apparatus. The root cause is the depopulation agenda. This is at the heart of everything. If you've been listening to the crap that's been coming out of the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, the European Union, these sorts of places, you can connect the dots yourself.
You won't be surprised to hear that Bill Gates is a key player in the plot to deliver airborne mRNA to the masses without their consent.
There are a lot of companies that apply for geoengineering contracts, and when we've looked into their funding, it always leads back to the Gates Foundation. From what we understand, Gates is fanatical about disseminating mRNA far and wide. He's also developing ways to lace the food supply with mRNA. So we're experiencing a two-pronged attack at the moment.
This information, while shocking, should not come as a surprise to anybody who's been paying attention. Dr. William Deagle warned us almost 20 years ago that the government and military were engaged in spraying operations and using climate change as a smokescreen.
Chemtrails. And chemtrails, by the way, barium salts are in chemtrails. They are 10,000 times more toxic to your nervous system than lead. They contain mycobacteria, viruses, Pseudomonas florensis bacteria, human plasma. Wonder what human plasma is doing in chemtrails. And this is not by conjecture. I did a lot of research before I'd ever say this, but these chemtrails are nasty. And there's three reasons for chemtrails. The first is and I talked to my NSA buddies at Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, and Buckley, where I was actually their doctor taking care of the pilots flying and spraying the chemtrails. So I know it's real. If anybody says it's not real, they're full of it. Okay, because I'm a whistleblower. On the inside, it's not open for discussion. And my NSA buddies told me, 95% of them told me they were up there trying to spray to reflect the sun out to stop global warming. So most of them are dumb enough to believe that garbage. Okay? And also in the chemtrails, and there's a link directly that Jeff Francis found out, and I'm going to have Dr. Staninger and Dr. Carjou on in about a week on my radio show. And I've done some investigations, and there's very solid evidence now that Morgellons is caused by a silicon-based nanomachine life form that does not originate on planet Earth. Is that not interesting? This is a silicon-based life form that is intelligent like bees or ants, and it fights back. Conversion of the atmosphere into a plasma for weather modification, geotectonic warfare, scalar mind control technologies, the woodpecker, which has been discovered back in the 70s, HARP, the Tetra system in the United Kingdom, Gwen towers in the United States, and the Iridium satellite system connected to the cell towers and the smart highways is all based on not only sending out a signal to track you, but Nokia, which is one of the leading cell companies, has figured out a new way to cut down the need for increasing the amount of signal by 3 to 5 times as many cell phones in the same signal area by beaming the signal directly to you. But they can also, besides the cell signal, they can actually have a biocoded signal to your DNA to affect your physiology and insert thoughts into your mind. And they have this technology today.
The Georgia Guidestones told us that the global elite want to reduce the population to 500 million. Since then, a procession of globalist ghouls, often speaking from their safe space in Davos, have made the same pronouncements about eugenics and depopulation. The elite's strange code of ethics requires that they tell us what they're going to do to us, using occult code and symbols. The problem for the elite is that we have cracked the code, and we can see what they are doing to us. We understand the real purpose of Agenda 2030 and their so-called Sustainable Development Goals. We understand that when they say they are spraying the skies to fight climate change, they actually have far more nefarious goals in mind. We also understand that barium, aluminium, and graphene oxide should not be injected into our children, nor should they be sprayed all over us from a great height. Here at the People's Voice, we are determined to continue holding the global elite to account for their crimes against humanity, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family about us, and join the People's Voice Locals community. I hope to see you there. Today's sponsor is LiverMedic. If you think the supplements you are getting from big box retailers are doing you any good, think again. Did you know that most of the retailers in America are owned and controlled by the same handful of companies that control everything? But we have a choice. LiverMedic's leaky gut repair is aimed at the millions of people suffering from all forms of digestive discomfort. Their safe and efficacious natural product is physician grade, with no toxic fillers. It coats while repairing the digestive lining. Best of all, unlike Big Pharma's offerings, it actually works. Join me and millions of other Americans who are voting with our dollars by supporting an American company that truly cares about our health. Save up to 15% on a 3-month supply by using our code People's Voice by visiting livermedic.com/step/leaky gut special, or by clicking on the link below this video. Take back control of your health, protect your family from the global elite, and hit them where it really hurts. Visit livermedic.com/step/leaky gut special, or click the link below this video to find out more.